What is up, responsible day traders? Today it's Sunday. It's Sunday, October 16th, 2022. I am Lindsay Duff, and this is Responsible Day Trading. Okay, guys, so we have had a lot of scholarship applications come in. We've already started speaking with some people. Today was the last day for those to come in. So we actually had some come in right now, and I'm pretty excited about reading over them. It is so beautiful to see the journey that y'all have been on, and to see that you want to be a part of what we're doing here. And, just to see the fact that we may be working together someday and I can watch you grow, which is really what makes me happy to be here every day. I mean, people think that trading is my passion. Nay, it's people. And trading gave me the opportunity to work with people, to help people, to move people in a direction that they never thought was possible for themselves. And I'm just proud to be a part of it. So we have that going on, guys, and we'll be announcing the winner on the 25th of October. We're actually going to be doing that in London. I'm leaving on Thursday. I'm excited, and I'll be spending time with the team out there. We'll have Jason and Claudia and Dan and everybody together. We're going to have Davis, one of our winners from last year. When Davis won last year, he won the platform fundamentals and ended up upgrading and is doing really well. So I'm pretty proud of you guys. Derek, we'll have you at the next one. Maybe we'll have everybody come out here and we'll all do it together next time. But yeah, so I'm excited to see what's happening with that and to see who those winners are going to be. So it's been lovely talking with y'all so far. I really, really appreciate your time. So, all right, guys. So we had a pretty wild ride last week in the market. It did some expected things and it did some unexpected things. So why don't we go ahead, check out the news, and then we'll look over the market. Okay, guys, so let's head on over to news. We're going to go here to the market news, and we're going to check out what we got going on. Oh, we don't have very much this week. Nothing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have pre-market, and then we have an hour after the market opens. And Thursday, we've got some pre-market an hour before, and we've got existing home sales 30 minutes after market opens. So it's kind of a quiet week in the news. So that can always be interesting. Now let's go ahead and check out what we see going on in the market today so far. Let's start off with our daily chart, and let's talk about what happened last week, okay? So we talked about these MACDs in particular right here being inside of the Bollinger Bands, and the fact that we're leading a little bit higher here as it pulled up. It's a little bit of a sign, but there's a couple of things going on here that we really want to be aware of. Okay, so first off, let's talk about what's happening right at this area. The market pushed up, we reached that top Bollinger Band or got close to it, and it's pulled back down, staying inside of the Bollinger Bands, and just reached that bottom one. As we reached that bottom one, you can see we just came and tagged that line almost perfectly. And then we had a big move that happened. I believe it was in the morning. I wasn't there for that day, but I believe it happened in the morning after the market opened. We had a huge move to the downside, creating this nice long reversal bar, the big tail with the close up towards the top. That's typically a pretty good sign for a move to the upside, but it was followed almost immediately by a long reversal bar to the downside. We did not break through either way in the MACDs here. We didn't break through to the upside. We didn't break through to the downside. So we're kind of at a hold right now. With these EMAs opening up to the downside, with this being just a little bit lower here, then we may see this give the attempt to push back down. We do have all these closes happening here. What we'd want to see is this MACD BB stay purple, which it is obviously not right now, this newest MACD BB that's happening right in here. We want to see it stay purple and roll to the downside and possibly push through here if we're going to expect this to continue down. Now, if we expect it to continue up, which it's really looking like it's attempting to go up, but I don't know that I trust it just yet. So if we're going to see this go up, what's going to happen with this BB is it's going to stay blue and it's going to start rolling to the upside. And what we'd like to see is it break through this top Bollinger Band, and then we'd start anticipating this pulling up either back up to this area right in here, which that gives us a lot of space to work with, almost a couple of 100 points to pull back up into here. Or if it continues with strength, we'll see it pull back even further. Now, we still have some areas that we could look to possibly travel to down here further if it decides to push through there. If it comes back up, our first spot obviously is where this reversal bar was created. Then we're going to be looking to wherever this EMA is going to land, because as this is happening, we know this is going to come down just a little bit more. So if this EMA comes down a little bit more, we may see it pull back into there. And heck, if we have a lot of strength, it may even pull back up to here. And eventually, if we do exceed this area, I'm going to start looking for, okay, now we're going to start seeing those moves back to the upside. But we've got a lot of places to go before that happens, and we'll have a lot of opportunity during that. So let's go ahead and pull up the 28,657 right here. Okay. All right. So we had, and I guess it was overnight whenever this big bar happened right in here. Yeah, it was overnight. So whenever it pushed down and got us past that area, it happened overnight and then almost immediately just turned around and went back up. You see the MACDs never got back inside of the Bollinger Bands. So when we got to this area, it was pretty obvious that it was going to continue to the upside. We had some nice divergences happening right in here, which pushed it back down. Now, with these big divergences and this pushes back down, we'd really like to see the MACDs agree with the continuation to the downside, which means they would start rolling down and pushing down further. But what we see right now, at this very moment, which we're not very far into the 28,657 in this bar, but what we can see right now is this BB is trying to work its way up. So right now, we would see this, if this continues like this, we would see the possibility for this to come back up towards that next area of that 627, right here where the two EMAs are meeting. So it looks like it's attempting to make that move. This BB can change strength as this countdown is happening. This is why we have these tick counters, guys. We don't want to trust exactly what the BB is saying right here, right now for longevity. So let's say that we were trying to take the long from here and the BB was going up. Cool, we've got that, that's great. But if it starts showing signs that that area is not going to hold, we want to pay attention to it, or that area is going to hold, we want to pay attention to it. But currently it looks like that BB is trying to pick up the strength to the upside. We're going to have to watch that and see what it does, because these EMAs or these Bollinger Bands are very close together. So it could definitely push back down below it pretty easily. I mean, we did have some strength in the BBs to the downside, and this so far is a weak crawl to the upside, which may be just getting us back towards the area of the zero line. And if it gets back towards that area of the zero line, then we're going to think about, okay, are we at the zero line? Are we at the EMAs? Are we expecting it to push down from there? All right, so let's look at our trading charts. So currently on my 10,946, we can see that that BB is popping up with some strength. So we see the same kind of situation happening here that happened on the 28,657. So this is going down, and while it's still just kind of crawling down, the BBs are making divergences through here. And when I say they're making divergences through here, we have leading lower here, and just continuously leading higher here. Now, that happens a lot of times whenever this is crawling back to the upside, or when it's crawling back to an area to give us more strength to push down. So we'll also have the area of the zero line here that if it gets up there, we're really going to want to pay attention to and see if that is going to be something that is going to continue. If those BBs stay strong and to the outside, we're going to expect it to push through that zero line and continue up, kind of like right in here where it busts to the upside. And let's see if I have another example right here where it stays outside of the Bollinger Bands as we're reaching the zero line. We expect continuation with that kind of thing. So right now, this bar has a lot of strength to the upside. We can look at the 1597 and see these BBs are just smoking to the upside, right? They are not playing around. They are definitely working their way up. Now, we know overnight material can be a little different, so we always want to pay attention and just be responsible with it. If you're looking to take any of these little moves to the upside, you really want to think about where your risk needs to go. And we talk about this all the time, because thinking about where your risk needs to go in order to take a trade, to me, is just one of the biggest things, right? So if we want to be behind this area right here when we get in, and I'm only showing where the entry would be on the 233 because the 233 lets us have the lower risk. If we're getting in on any other chart, the risk is going to be a lot higher, right? Because the bars are a lot bigger. But here it's got this little bit of activity, so we would want the risk to be back here. Now, that's at 3607. We're currently at 3611. For me, 2 to 2.5 points is my biggest that you'll see me give. So I'd want to be getting in somewhere right around here, which tells me it's too late to get into the trade now. We have to wait for the next opportunity. Because if we're not waiting for that next opportunity, we're throwing ourselves into the market. And if it comes back and touches your stop, but continues in that direction, it just shows that your timing is a little bit off. So patience is absolutely key in these kind of things. So we want to wait for it to pull back again. We're always waiting for the pullbacks in order to give ourselves the low risk opportunities. So let's talk about the direction overall. Let's go ahead and bring this back up really quick. Let's talk about the daily chart. The direction in the long term, the direction in the short term are both down. It is tempting to make a move to the upside. We had this little bit of divergence between these pivots right here. It's trying to go back up, but we're really going to have to see this make the move to get back above there. So both the long and short term on the daily chart are down. Actually, on almost all of them, on the 10,946, on the 28,657, on our bigger charts, they're down. This is attempting to switch the direction to the upside. In order to change the direction to the upside, we need to get back above the EMAs and back above the zero line. And that hasn't happened here. Now, if we look at the 1597, the immediate has shifted to the upside. But as I've said many, many times before, what we like to see for continuation for this kind of move is to pull away from the EMAs, to come back to it, and then bounce up and continue past this area. Okay, so it tried to do it right here. Here's your first time pulling away. It pulls back into the area, doesn't make a new high. So right now we have definitely pulled away from the EMAs. So what we'd be looking for is a pullback towards it and pushing up higher than this area in order to really have some confidence that the shift has moved to the upside, that the direction has shifted to the upside. So it would be something more along the lines of what we see here. It's pulled away from the EMAs. It's pulled back into it, and it made a higher pivot. So on the 233, we're like, all is a go for the longs. But with the 233 doesn't run the market. And if it does for you, then you might be finding yourself in some hairy situations, because whenever you trust that smallest chart to give you all of the information, to me, I've always thought of it like, throwing the keys to a Lamborghini to a 13-year-old and not expecting them to wreck. There's just too much going on, okay? And so, this is really, really, really working to shift the direction to the upside. If this continues looking like this, I'm going to absolutely anticipate it to shift to the upside. I would absolutely anticipate it to push through these areas after these very, very weak attempts to the downside. But as we are moving, we want to see everything, really show strength and momentum to get through these areas. If we start slowing down as we reach those areas, and we start seeing divergences on our smaller charts that tell us that the market's going to push to the downside, then we want to question if we want to continue with those long trades. Okay. All right, my friends, that is going to wrap it up. I have a short week this week, but Jason and I are going to do a live rundown next week. So he and I will be here live. We'll be in London doing the Monday market rundown or Sunday market rundown together. So hopefully y'all join us for that. I would love to have you here next week for that. So it should be fun. It's going to be really interesting. Jason and I have never sat next to each other. We've never met each other, although we've been working together for probably somewhere around 10 years now. And so I'm excited about going and just hugging them, and saying, being able to see my friend face to face and to be able to sit down and talk these things over together is just an amazing thought process. So hopefully you'll join us next week. And guys, I love being here with you. I love seeing all of your applications come in. If you have questions over anything, please reach out to us. But that's going to wrap things up, guys. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. And as always, that I look forward to catching you on the profitable side.